And we're back for another edition of the Southern Ontario Dirt Show podcast, presented by Oshweekend Speedway and our friends at Bicknell Racing Products. Also, shout out to Vansicle Pet Value and Lundy's Lane Pet Value as well for being on board with the show. Travis, it's episode 49, and I think this was one of the easier numbers that we've had in terms of picking numbers. So I'll let you go first with the wing guy.
Yeah. Oshweekend Speedway Crate Sprint Champion 2022, Lucas Smith. 2023 360 Sprint Car Rookie, Lucas Smith, as well.
Nice. I'm literally looking at his championship ride from last year on the Oshweekend poster that was getting handed out at Motorama that I've hung over top of my little computer setup here. I am going with Oshweekend Speedway 2022 Thunderstock champion, as well as champion about pretty much anywhere else he takes that fast 49 machine. The Brewster Baker, Dave Bailey. Shout out to them. Pretty easy to figure out 49s for this week, and two pretty popular ones.
Will Gill, there's another one. Sportsman. He's just coming back this year. I think I'm not sure if he's raced in the last couple of years in that, but his car looks real nice. And there's probably more if we think, but those are the two real easy ones. And Gill's been around forever in this area. Humberstone Sportsman.
Why am I thinking of the name Brad Walsh?
That's because that's him.
Brad
Walsh.
I
think
49?
That's the owner. But I'm pretty sure Will Gill drives it.
Okay.
Orange number. Yeah, that's what
I think they've split
something
that car
like that.
before,
Probably.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So, I couldn't think of that. So appreciate you. Appreciate you finishing my thought there. We should probably start off the news, the bad news that happened this week. We should pay some tribute to Kyle Inman, late driver, Genesee champ. Just terrible news that broke out over the weekend. Tons of people in the dirt community sharing the post of his passing. Very sad stuff. Anytime the dirt community loses some stuff, and I think we were trying to figure this out. So I don't think you've ever raced against him, right? I don't think so. Did you ever have the opportunity in your modified career?
He's always more of a sportsman guy, but I know he came to Merrittville probably right before the COVID thing, and I know he won a big rush race there. I know he won Oswego Super Dirt Week 2019 and lots of other big races. Like all he did was win. And pretty sure someone I knew in the go-kart world back in the day, maybe the Gambles or someone around the Western New York area where he's from. Yeah, they knew him and they would always talk about him. And everyone at work knew him, especially the U.S. store side. And they were all posting, yeah, I know, just can't believe it. Cancer on that one. Rough.
Yeah. Yep, cancer, as we all have come to say far too many times throughout our lives. So, thinking of the Inman family, his crew, his fans, and everybody that was a part of his short but mighty racing career. Ultimately, tough to transition to that, but I think we should start with the Super DIRTCar Series and tee up this week's action. So it's kind of hard to get a read on the Super DIRTCar Series. I feel like we talked about it the last time when we were talking about Matt's race, right? There's only one real race, right? We had the Florida stuff, but that's almost like a preseason tournament, if you will, right? So it doesn't quite mean the same thing. So I feel like this is where things really get going, right? Like Orange County, it just feels like one of those homes for Super DIRTCar Series. You think of big blocks, you think of modifieds, you think of Orange County. At least I do. I also think of Matt Williamson. So does he take another big win at Orange County, which he's been known to do in the past?
Well, I think Matt Shepard got him last year at Eastern States, and Matt was second. It's usually a Matt Shepard or a Matt Williamson show, yeah. But lots of other locals can be quick too. And but yeah, it can definitely be Matt Shepard and Matt Williamson up front. But Anthony Prego, he's a local guy, and Mahaney goes good there. Lots of other guys, but I wouldn't doubt if it was a 9 or 88.
So, yeah, and if you want to catch that event, it's going to be happening Sunday night. Looks like DIRTCar Series hot laps start at 5:30. Not sure. I'm trying to think of when the coverage would probably start. Probably around
for
that
sure
time,
on Dirt Vision. Yeah.
No? Yeah. Dirt Vision will have it.
You can listen for free on Dirt Vision if you don't have the video. If you don't pay the Dirt Vision, you can listen for free. Pretty sure.
Which is always handy, and I kind of like doing that anyways as a radio guy, first and foremost. I'm not used to having the visual elements, hence why this is mostly just an audio podcast. Every once in a while, there's some video clips that'll pop up and stuff, but we keep it audio around here, because that's what I like to work in. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to Stewart Friesen's throwback. I want to get into this one too because that's the best thing I think about Stewart Friesen's career, and I think I personally don't get upset with Stewie, but like every once in a while, I wish he kind of wore the Canadian flag a little higher, a
Oh,
little
we all know
prouder.
though.
But he's got, but we all know, and it doesn't really need to be said, and it doesn't. He's spent so much time in Western New York racing too. It all just kind of makes sense.
Central New York
You know,
and Western, yeah.
I've always wanted that one Canadian driver to go and invade one of the higher ranks of NASCAR and really hold the flag high for us all. And Stewie does a great job, and it's these moments that I'm like, okay, no, Stewie does get it. He is one of us, and he's paying tribute to a Niagara racing legend, Southern Ontario racing legend, in Ivan
Driving
Little.
Ivan Little, yep, he's been around since I'm pretty sure right around when Maryville opened. I'm pretty sure 55 or something like that, and went all the way to 86, I think, is when he retired. So yeah, fun fact: his wife used to drive me and my mom and sister around because my mom can't drive back in the day. So my dad was working in the shop, and we had to go get groceries. We'd call Grimsby Taxi, and his wife would be the one driving.
It's awesome. It's a funny little story, right? It's always so close and such
Yeah,
a
and
tight
like
knit
he's
community, and glad you guys had that
yeah,
support.
Nancy Little, and but like his car is just so iconic, right? With the black and the red flames this was always had. And Derek told me a good story at break this week. He's like, he always used to come in the pits extra late, and he'd always have the rig super washed, super clean. He'd roll through the pits super slow because he didn't want to get any mud to splash up onto the rig. So like he'd just do that almost like a parade down the front pits. And yeah, I thought that was a super cool story that Derek said this week when we figured out that Stewie was doing the throwback to Ivan Little. We talked about it with Dougie Gordon. He kind of broke the news, and yeah, super cool.
Yeah, it definitely made some headlines and it grabbed some attention. I even saw our good pal Eric Thomas share it up on his feed, and it's just a beautiful truck. Like that is a great throwback. Anytime you put flames on a race car, maybe it's being a Jeff Gordon fan from childhood, but you put flames on a race car, I'm into it. So I'm here for that. We should also get into your results because you went racing
Yeah,
finally.
I know. Last year, I don't think I raced till like May 2 for a weekend. So this year can get over the border. So I finally decided I always wanted to race at Fulton just because it's got the high banks and super cool layout. And I always hear you can race 3-4 wide around it. And all those rumors are definitely true. And it almost feels, yeah, I don't know. I've always wanted to go there for like the last decade. And it almost feels like it was a dream a little bit. And because the show got pushed through so quick. And yeah, it was just super fun. The ESS people were super welcoming. And I timed pretty okay. My group, 5th out of 11, made a mistake. Or the heat race. Chris Heil started in front of me. He got on the gas and biked up, and that kind of screwed my run going into one. And then I biked my own self up. Like he did like a wheelie on the start, and then I biked up going into 3, and that
Yep.
cost me 2 spots. So then I had to run to B main, got in through there, and raced and got up to 17th. Could have been a little higher, but yeah. I got lapped, so it was just me and the other guy, but like we were at the back with the other cars ahead of me, and we were racing with them guys pretty hard. So I didn't realize I was lapped. I honestly couldn't hear my radio very good because it was like on that thing where it was like just happened and then the caution came out, so I wasn't quite sure. But
Yep.
I kept racing the racing.
Well,
Like those guys race so hard, it's crazy. Yeah.
yeah. So, would you say how does the two tours compare between this? I mean, obviously, we haven't had a Southern Ontario Sprint event yet, but in your past experience between the KOT and the SOS, how do those tours compare to what you've experienced now in the ESS?
Well, you like to say that ESS might have a little bit like because our guys, uh, like even D Dubs struggled a little bit when he went down there. Took him a while to get a win down there. So like when you go down there, it's a little bit harder. But okay, because Jason Barney won on Friday. He's been racing there since he was a teenager. But then they come up here, and it's the same thing. We've been racing here forever, so it's kind of the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
It would be fun to find us on a new like a combo. Even Brighton wouldn't work, but like a combo race somewhere where no one's ever gone before to have a nice little even playing
I wonder
field
if there's like
track to try. But
I wonder if there's a Quebec
no,
track you guys
no,
haven't checked
ESS
off
used to
yet,
go there all the time. That would be tough to do, but
right? So,
that's just safe to say there's like heavy competition in both. But
yeah.
definitely heavier racing for 17th in that one. Yeah, that's the whole thing. Poirier wins the
I
championship.
said Canadian Sprint Car
Yeah,
champion.
he
Yep.
started 12th, got to
Uh,
4th, probably was fast enough to win if he didn't have a terrible redraw.
yep. Yeah, not sure. I was going to ask what happened to. I was saying Canadian National Sprint Car
Oh
Champion
yeah,
Paulie Colagiovanni, who you ended up beating.
that's because he
What
broke.
what happened there?
He
Yeah,
was
right. He
cautioned with
broke.
the last caution
Was
with 4 to go. That was tough. Yeah, he
Yeah,
wasn't
tough
probably
to
going to
see.
win though.
Uh,
I don't think.
no. Oh yeah, I mean like it's a hard field to win in. Like even like you say,
Barney, when he
Jordan
lapped me,
Poirier
it was
who
insane.
went
Yeah,
12th to
but like
4th.
he was just so hooked up, and I was like, oh, that's how far you got to drive around with the gas on. And then after that, I honestly started doing better because I started being on the gas more through the corners and trying to drive it with the brake a little bit more, which I struggled at
Yep.
doing, but I did a good job with there, but I melted a rotor. Whoops.
Yeah. I don't know if I should be impressed or not with this result, but it feels like just looking at it, it feels impressive to say Max McLaughlin up from 16th to 8th.
Yeah, that is impressive because, like, to start the race, I started whatever it was 23rd, but me and Max were racing a little bit to start with. But then I even saw he said it on his Facebook. He was like, took him about 20 laps to figure it out, and then literally when he figured it out, he did go to the front. He got the top figured out pretty good, and it was weird. Like the B main, the top was better in 3 and 4, and then by feature time, which was not that much longer, it feels like I just finished the B main and I was back in the car again. But then like the bottom was better in 3 and 4, and the top was better in 1 and 2. Like that track just changes nonstop. So that's the hardest part about that place is just knowing where to be on the track because it's always changing. Feels like even more than the tracks around here.
Yep.
Or I've just maybe raced the tracks around here more. I know what it's going to do quicker, but
So overall impressions though of Fulton?
love it going back.
Yeah. That's what
There's
I
so much
figured would be the
history there
answer.
too.
Yeah.
So much history there. It used to be a paved track. Like that's the track where Richie Evans, NASCAR modified legend, like got banned from NASCAR because he got caught racing a non-NASCAR event with like under a fake name, and they were all doing it, but they used him as a scapegoat. But that's the track where he got caught, Fulton, back when it was paved. So that's a cool little tidbit about it.
Yep. Like that one. So with that said, you're going to be racing again
Well, yeah,
soon.
we're not going to tell that
When's on
because
the
then
schedule for you?
other people might get the idea and show up too. We'll release it
Oh,
the
you're
week
keeping it
of.
secret. Okay.
It was perfect last week because I
All
said I
right.
was going to Fulton on the Thursday, and then by the time lunchtime when you aired it, oh, for the most part, that's when everyone knew. A couple people know, but can't tell everybody.
Oh,
Yeah, gotta be sneaky.
sneaky. I see. Trying to stack up, get some reps against the
Just
other
trying to
series without having to split the
get some
top.
laps in with my competitors around here on the couch, like they were on Friday, basically.
Yeah, good call. I like that strategy. As far as local racing goes, the wet weather has been fairly brutal. We were supposed to have a practice at Ransomville Speedway tonight. That was not rained out because it's not raining in the Niagara region, Western New York region right now, but it has rained, I think, feels like a month straight, but really it's only probably been like 6 or
Feels
5
like
days
more than a
straight.
month to me.
That's wreaked havoc.
Sheesh.
I know. Well, I mean, how many cancellations have we already had? And I think Ransomville's going to get their
No,
race in.
they already canceled it.
You think?
Yeah, while you're eating
Did they?
dinner, you
Did I
did.
miss the news? Oh, dang. I was optimistic, but then you gave me some news about, or yeah, I don't want to say news, but you talked to Matt Williamson and he kind of had some
Yeah,
feelings that they weren't going to get their show in. So, with all that said, though, it sounds like everything's a go at Maryville from all I've
Maryville's gonna
heard.
happen.
We're chomping at the bit, get going. Yeah, I think we're going to get the perfect amount of weather to get this thing in, and I can't wait. For me personally, this is my favorite time of the year. To come in 2 weeks too late, but the Loop Paint Night will be our season opener at Maryville Speedway. It's also going to be the first event for the Duel on the Dirt for the Hoosier Stocks and the Four Cylinders as well. So, right out of the gate, the Hoosier Stocks and the Four Cylinders got a little something to race for. So, that'll be interesting. And as always, you can go and grab your tickets ahead of time at any CAA Niagara counter or at our partners, Van Sickle Pet Value in St. Catharines, right across from Best Buy off 4th Avenue, or PV on the lane, Lundy's Lane Pet Value at the corner of Lundy's Lane and Kaler Road. Go grab your tickets ahead of time. If you're a driver or a crew member, go grab your pit passes ahead of time. Skip the lineups. Get your tickets. Just get right in there. And if you're a grandstand ticket holder, right on the back of your ticket, little gift card to go and use at the self-wash station. So if you got a dog and you need to take your dog for a dog bath in the springtime, I just took Finn for a hike after work today. He got all dirty.
Like
He's
his
due for a
dad at
bath.
work.
Going to be visiting Pat Valley. Yeah,
He looked
me
like
too.
Cold
Literally.
Trickle.
Yeah, I keep rubbing it
Yep.
all over my face. So, shout out to them. Shout out to Maryville. Hopefully, going to have some racing to talk about locally, and hopefully, I'll
Finally.
see everybody at the racetrack Saturday night. Finally, let's get into this Flo list of what are we calling this? The
Most diverse
diverse
drivers on
drivers.
dirt.
So, do you want me to run through the list like in order from first to 10th, 10th to first? What do you think? I feel like we can start at the top because I think
And
everybody's
people
going to
probably
agree
already
who's
read
number
it.
1, right? Right? So, Kyle Larson obviously number 1.
No brainer.
Anything that guy steps in to win. Yeah, anything he steps in to drive, he wins. So, it's really not that surprising that he would top the list. However, maybe number 2 on the list
I personally agree.
is a bit
That's
of a
not a surprise
surprise.
to me. I'm just surprised they put him that high.
Stewart
I'm
Friesen.
surprised like someone not Canadian, an American, put him that high. And I couldn't agree more. Super DIRTCar Series winner. He never really had a chance to run for a championship. I wish one year it would work out where he could go for, like, because he was leading the points a couple of years ago, but he couldn't because he wasn't a full-time driver. There was no chance of him winning the championship, but he did have a huge lead at one point. So that's the only thing he's missing in his modified career is a Super DIRTCar Series championship. But so he's won a bunch of races, Sir Trek Super Series champion, all that stuff, Syracuse winner.
Yep, north and
so
south.
many things. He's won a World of Outlaw race. Those are the main things. The World of Outlaw race is probably what got him highest up, and then his NASCAR Craftsman truck stuff too. He's got that's 3 wins in that now, and even made it to the champion.
One of those being
on the dirt. Correct. That's probably it. Yeah, that's why that counts for sure. Yeah,
exactly.
And then almost won the championship one year. Was in the Final Four, and So Stewie number 2. Got to agree there.
And at number 3, Ricky Thornton Jr.
Yeah, last time was Stewie. His outlaw win was at Ush Weekend. Most people know that, but that's another cool tidbit about it. Yeah, Ricky Thornton Jr. He's got on this list recently with his wicked runs in like the micros and the Chili Bowl midgets. I think he made both shows. I know he made a whole bunch of shows at the shootout, and then I'm pretty sure he made the Chili Bowl too, if not the B main for sure. And then all his dirt late model stuff, where he's like one of the heavy hitters on the dirt late model tour. Lots of big money races. He's at the race right now I'm watching tonight at Atomic, Lucas Oil Late Models, and All Star Circuit of Champion Sprints. Pretty awesome show. And then, so that's how he got third on the list. I think that's been pretty recent that he's fired up the list there.
Yeah, he is also talking about making his debut in wing sprint cars sometime this year. So that's another box for him to check off in terms of the diversity of it. This guy, I don't want to say that I expected him to be higher on the list, but if he was in the top 3, I wouldn't have been surprised. I think 4 is probably a good spot for him. Buddy Kofoid at number 4, TRD development prospect, and he's only 21 years old. He's already got 2 USAC National Midget Championships. He's won in the World of Outlaws Sprint Car Series, won in the All-Star Circuit of Champions. He's raced in the NASCAR trucks now at Iowa. He's been in the Cars Tour late models, which is pavement stuff. So I guess if you want to incorporate pavement stuff, it's diverse. But in terms of even dirt stuff, it's still a pretty successful resume in multiple disciplines on the dirt.
Yep. I would have put him ahead of Ricky Thornton Jr. for sure. But but he's a wheel man, definitely one of my favorites. And definitely did his number 4.
Yep. Tim McCready at number 5. What do you think of T-Mac and inside the top 5 there?
Definitely deserves it. Chili Bowl winner is what got him in there. Dirt modified winner. And what is it, 2-time or 3-time Lucas Oil Late Model champion now. And he's one of the 3 drivers that have a Lucas Oil Late Model championship and a World of Outlaw Late Model championship. So, Chili Bowl winner. That's the huge one. Won the Chili Bowl. T-Mac.
Well, and not only that, but also won them both in the same year. Won the Chili Bowl and the World of Outlaws Late Model Series title same year, 2006.
Yes, sir.
So, that's a pretty big.
I love T-Mac.
For Watertown.
Everyone around here loves
Tim McCready.
T-Macs.
Of course, you gotta love T-Mac. How about Nick Hoffman at number 6, 3-time UMP national champion? It looks like he's getting his full-time opportunity in the World of Outlaws late models as well. So what do you think of him at number 6?
He's definitely diverse. Definitely hasn't won in his well, he has won, but like I don't know. Yeah, 6. He's mainly known for the UMP style mods. He's like the absolute goat of those. And then he's been pretty good in the midget, ran the Chili Bowl. So yeah, he's definitely diverse. He can wheel.
Yep. Number 7, Logan Seavey. You want me to just crush through the rest of the top 10 here?
Sure, if you want. Yep.
Yeah, we got number 8, Billy Pouch Jr., Donnie Schatz at number 9, and Cody Swanson rounds out the top 10 according to Flo Racing in terms of most diverse dirt drivers. What do you think of those final 4 there, rounding out the top 10?
Yeah, it started to get a little bit harder to find people, I think, at the end because Shot's got it because like the sprint car, he hasn't won that much in a late model though. I'm sure he's won some local shows, but he's made big shows like he made World Finals and Volusia before, I think, with the late model. And yeah, he's there. So that's how he got on there and all his sprint car wins. But like the main diverse guys were definitely the guys up on the top 5 there.
Yeah, I'm not surprised to see Cody Swanson. I actually kind of thought Swanson might be a little bit higher, but that's fine. You know what? I think it's good to have him in the top 10.
He's more of a pavement
Is
guy,
there
though.
somebody that maybe they missed? Yeah, that's fair. Is there somebody that was missed in the top 10? Do you have anybody that you would put in? I don't. Nobody came to mind immediately when I was thinking about
No,
it.
I would have to think about that first.
Yeah. No, and if we have to think
If
about it,
anyone
that
else
means
can
we're
think of
really
one,
searching for it.
let
So
us
they probably
know.
got it right. Yeah. Give us
DIRTCar,
a message on Facebook or on the
yeah,
comments.
multi-wheel man.
Who who's a diverse dirt driver?
Jesse Hockett
You
was one, the
can
late
leave a
Jesse Hockett, the
comment.
sprint car guy, but he was mainly wing sprints and wingless sprints were his 2 main things. But he could win all the time in one of those. But then he passed away in an unfortunate working on his trailer accident. That was back almost a decade ago now. He was definitely, I love guy. But Brady Bacon just won his first World of Outlaw race, so there's a pretty good one too. Wingless midget. Yeah, there you go. There's my answer. Brady Bacon. He should have been on the list.
There you go. Perfect. And then what about locally? Do we have, if let's say, not a top 10 like Flo Racing style, but is there anybody that comes to mind when you think of diverse drivers locally throughout Southern Ontario? Like immediately I go to Mike Bowman, who we're seeing making the transition now into 360 sprints after a pretty successful run in the crates last year. Obviously, fairly good modified driver in his own right as well. So I think of Bowman right away as my diverse driver, and I think you also got to shout out Glenn Stiers because if it has a steering wheel and 4 wheels, I think that guy will drive it. So
yeah, he's definitely. Glenn Stiers is a sprint car driver for me though. He's trying a whole bunch of different stuff now, but like sprint car driver to me. But I was thinking more Chris Steele. Like
good pick.
Glenn Stiers, because he actually is one in a modified and a sprint car.
Well, now we got to get you a win in the sprint car, and then we can say that about you.
I have a sprint car win. I don't have a modified win.
Okay, so you got to go.
Jeez,
I've been close. In my head, which means that you need to take up somebody's offer to drive a 358 modified the next time you get a chance to. Go get that win.
I know. There was one discussion maybe, but that was just for like.
You never know. Could be the one race you need. You never know. With all that said, I think we've covered pretty much everything. But I got to put a quarter in you. I do. There it is. I want to end off on it. So
it's not that big of a rant.
And I feel like this is a good one too. I feel like this is a good rant. I want to tease it up. I want to set this up. I feel like this could be a night of rants because we're getting some, speaking of diverse guests, we're going to get some wingless sprint guys on the show tonight. And I have heard some rants from you. I know you're going to be on your best behavior tonight. And I'm going to try not to stir the pot too much between the wingless and the wing sprint car guys on the show. But let's start with the Kyle Larson stuff and his rant about sprint cars.
Well, he just said that he was probably just trying to start stuff, but said that they need starters. Him when he was talking to Brad Sweet on the High Limit chat, I think, and Brad Sweet shut him down right away, which is totally what I would agree with, and I think most people just, I don't know. I was at Fulton on Friday, and there was like 20 push trucks, and I swear we were pushed off just as fast as you can fire up modifieds and get them in gear and rolling. Like, every car had a push truck. And Oswego, we got the push track. Some tracks, even Humberstone, there's a push track now. And Maryville might be the one that's maybe the slowest, but even they're they're still pretty quick at it. But yeah, that's everyone's fun thing. Sprint cars need starters, but it's tradition, man. You don't mess with tradition, and it does not take long to
I
start them. That's the whole thing. When they flip, yeah, it's hard, but like when every division flips, there's a red, and you got to sit there.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe is this, I don't want to say an indictment of the high limit series, but maybe an indictment of some of these tracks in general, in that there's, if you want to make sprint car racing your thing and you want to have these
You
big events,
have to have
then
push
maybe you got
trucks.
to support. Yeah, you got to support the
Yeah.
infrastructures. You can't get things done with 5, 6, 7, 8 trucks. You need a full field, field of trucks to support and push these guys off. And sounds like you got that at Fulton, and the results were good. So
Fulton,
I don't know. I think the answer's on the wall. Maybe instead of messing with tradition, like you say, and messing with the technology side of the sport, maybe just find a better way to support your drivers with
yes.
push trucks.
My favorite part about Fulton
Get some
was
numbers.
your push driver, like your quad guy, did not come on the track with you. There's like, because it's up and thing, like the pits are almost lower than the track, and they push you down a ramp in 3 and 4, and you just go by yourself rolling down the ramp like you're entering onto a stage. It's pretty cool. In the feature, they did push you on the track,
Nice.
your quad guy, but for everything else, you rolled down the ramp like you were a superhero by yourself.
Nice. All right. Well, why don't we get to our interviews? And that was a fairly tame TC rant. You were a little bit more fired up about it.
Well, yeah,
at
just
work,
Larson.
so
He's a
I'm
late
glad
model guy now. That's the thing I left out. Yeah, like he barely runs a sprint car. He's running it tonight, and then now he's Mr. Gotta put a starter in it. There, is that better?
Okay, so here's my question. We've talked about Kyle Larson. We've talked about the Bowman injury last week. We talked about Kyle Larson. He's got it in his deal. He can go and run whatever he wants when he wants with Hendrick Motorsports. But just because the contract says something, do you think maybe Mr. H and Jeff Gordon sat him down and said, hey, those late models, they're a little bit safer. If you want to do this dirt thing, that's cool. Just go run mostly those things. Do you think that's a bit of what's going
Maybe a
on?
little bit, yeah. But he's still going to run his races where he makes the big money, and like he even says on one of his NASCAR sprint cars, I make a lot of money in it. So he's not going to be able to ignore the big money ones. So that's a for sure. And
Exactly.
yeah, other than that, he can fill his 50 races with the late model, which is basically where he's at. You're correct on that, I believe.
The other thing we talked about last week with the Alex Bowman stuff that I wanted to bring up with you today is Corey LaJoie's podcast. They were talking about Bowman's injury and why Kyle Larson has maybe less fear of being injured or gets hurt less when he does crash is because of his size, and that the smaller guys, I guess, I can't remember how Corey phrased it, but I guess when you're a smaller guy, and he would know because he builds seats for a living besides his racing career, but when you're a smaller guy in a sprint car, you don't have to worry about, I guess, the crush zones the same
Definitely
way.
not.
You don't get the shock the same way through your seat, and you're not as, I guess, exposed as a driver when you're small like Larson is. So maybe that's a reason that Bowman got hurt versus Larson. I don't know.
Any other way, I would agree. But the way Bowman came down flat on the, I think it's pretty hard to get away from that.
Yeah.
That I've had that happen, and it has sent like a shock up your spine. So I probably should have went and got it checked, and I didn't because it still bothers me a little bit today. But
get this man a chiropractor.
yeah,
we need.
I just need an X-ray.
We need some more support in the Southern Ontario Dirt Show for our health plan. Apparently, we need an extended health plan for this guy. All right. Well, I'm sure there's going to be some more sprint car talk here, some more sprint car debates, some hot topics. I will try to keep these guys tame and not battling over which is best too much. But we're going to have John Watson and Ian Hunter on the show this week as our guests for the Southern Ontario Dirt Show to talk a little non-wing sprints in Southern Ontario. The Southern Ontario Dirt Show is brought to you by Ohsweken Speedway, Southern Ontario's home for Friday night excitement. For over 25 years, Ohsweken Speedway has promoted and played host to sprint car racing with a new season of family-friendly events on the horizon and set to begin May 19th. Catch our own Travis Cunningham as he races weekly in the 360 division each Friday night in pursuit of a season-long championship. The Friday night lineups are rounded out by crate sprints, thunder stocks, and mini stock divisions as well. In addition to weekly racing, Ohsweken Speedway will also hold several marquee events for the Southern Ontario Sprints, the Action Sprint Tour in their West Series and National Series, as well as a visit from Canada's premier stock car series, the NASCAR Pinty Series on August 14th and 15th for their only stop on dirt. Mark your calendars as the 3/8 mile dirt track located in Ohsweken, Ontario welcomes drivers from across the country and beyond for the 19th running of the Canadian Sprint Car Nationals, which is scheduled for September 16th. To keep up to date with the latest news from the track, be sure to find them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. For track information on policies, admissions, directions, and more, be sure to visit ohswekenspeedway.ca. That's OHSWEKEN Speedway.ca. Ohsweken Speedway, your home for Friday night excitement. The Southern Ontario Dirt Show is brought to you by Bicknell Racing Products. The last 40 years plus have seen Bicknell Racing Products grow to be an industry leader for racers and enthusiasts alike. Their St. Catharines location is home to 20,000 square feet of manufacturing and retail space, with a second store in Niagara Falls, New York, and a dealer network that continues to grow day by day to serve Southern Ontario, Western New York, and beyond. Bicknell Racing Products distributes Hoosier tires for much of Eastern Canada, New York, and even parts of Pennsylvania. BRP has everything you could need to keep your car performing at its peak, with genuine parts from the manufacturer. They even have a technical support line committed to helping you with the most up-to-date information and feedback from racers and crew chiefs. Have you ever thought about a career in the automotive or racing industry? Now is your chance to take the leap with Bicknell Racing Products. They are looking for CNC machine operators, welders, and more to join their team this season. Please send all resumes to Dana Curving at BicknellRacingProducts.com. That's DANACURVIN at BicknellRacingProducts.com. For further information on Bicknell Racing Products and to find a dealer near you, visit BRP online at www.BicknellRacingProducts.com or on Facebook or at twitter.com/BicknellRacing. All right, invading the Southern Ontario Dirt Show podcast, much to Travis's chagrin. We got a couple of wingless guys. We've got John Watson and Ian Hunter joining the show with us. Gentlemen, how's it going tonight?
Oh, not too bad. Just trying to stay busy.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. A lot of teams either gearing up for racing season, getting things together. Maybe some have already hit the track. What is life in the wingless world look like in Southern Ontario right around this time?
Well, in the background, Dick Mahoney and myself, we've been kind of getting our schedule together, getting the final preps done for the season coming up. A few things, just tying up loose ends and waiting it out, just like everybody else.
Yeah, so to be clear, like John Watson, he's like a longtime wingless guy around here. You've owned cars, right, John? And Ian, you're the you're the president of the Ontario Topless Sprints. Just to be clear for our guests, like, what
I
are we
don't
calling
know.
everybody here?
Yeah, I guess president, vice
Vice
president,
president.
Dick Mahoney and I are kind of equals in
Yeah,
this.
we should have had Dick on too. He's a good guy. I know him really well. But
Yeah.
yeah, so talk about like last year and like how this all started. I know it started like a couple of years ago. You guys, or I know John was like started something else called the Topless Sprints (OTS), but then like how this one came about and how you got your schedule going and how it's been going.
Well, yeah, the non-wing stuff, it sort of started back in '07 or '08 by almost by accident. Took a trip over to Michigan with Justin Martin, just back when he was getting started, so that he could get a little more experience on track. We ran with the FTS out of Michigan, had a lot of fun, and learned that it's actually a very affordable way to go racing. We've had so much fun that we've tried to bring it back home with us to Ontario and trying to grow it from there. Um, it's been kind of a tough deal getting something started. It's not what everybody's used to for our sprint cars go, so uh, it's a little tougher to get it to sell the program.
Yeah. The one thing I always like think like the crate sprints around here, it's booming now. But like when it first started, it was single digits for a couple of years and stuff like that too. That's where you guys are kind of hanging around right now. It's kind of tough to get cars, but it's still like just talk about running Southern Ontario Motor Speedway, and that's where all your races are right now, right?
Yeah, because it's a tough thing to grow. We had to get a track to, I guess, believe in what we wanted to do and give us some dates. And knowing full well that it was going to be some low numbers to start, um, obviously Henry is a newer track owner in this area, so there's been some growing pains. He's pretty excited about the non-wing stuff. He'd actually like to make it a bi-weekly or weekly series there. I don't know if that's really in the cards for us, but working with him it's been all right. We've had a lot of fun there so far.
That's kind of how you're gonna have to grow it, though. Like try to get the bi-weekly thing going, especially because out there's a lot of people that like, out there's not close to Ohsweken at all. Like that's a hike to get out in that area from where we're from here in the Niagara region. So that's definitely how you
Right.
grow. Because if you could get 15 cars, that's how you're gonna get the dates at the other tracks. Because like I'd love to try them at Merrittville or Humberstone.
We would too.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. We've talked to Maryville a couple of times, and that's really the number that we're looking for. And it's tough. You know, non-wing has definitely seemed to have got a stigma in Ontario about not being safe, so a lot of guys are hesitant. I'd like to break that stigma. I mean, I've been at it since 2015. I'm still here to talk about it. I'm not dead yet, so
Mhm.
uh, you know, it's going to be just getting guys to give it a try.
So, do you think that safety stigma kind of comes from maybe accidents in the states and other places that may have put the fear into guys when really, as long as you have safe and respectable racing between drivers, that's when you guys are going to see the series thrive in a healthy way and in a way where drivers don't have to be scared of the not of the wingless stuff.
Yeah, you are. You're exactly right on that. Safety has come a long ways. Back a few years ago, there was a rash of drivers that unfortunately have passed racing non-wing. But since then, with the containment seats that have come along and the other safety improvements that have come along, you're not seeing drivers fall out of the cars like you used to. Unfortunately, we just lost another racer here recently, but unfortunately, when you get into a crash like he had, it's not going to be good for anybody, wing, non-wing, or even with the fenders on the car. It was just a really sad situation. So yeah, like I said, with the safety equipment, it's getting safer.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's, a lot of what I hear, being a fan of bigger motorsports where these guys are stepping down into sprint cars and different rides, midgets. uh, a lot of the things you hear is like, well, why would a cup guy go and run that stuff when it's so dangerous? And I think we forget that all levels of motorsports, whether it be your local short track, your local dirt track, or even, the big series going around Monaco, going around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, going around Talladega, it's all dangerous to varying degrees. And I think that it, recognizing that as the first step, but like we were just talking about, I think have as long as you have drivers on board to race each other respectfully, then you almost get to put that in the back of your mind and enjoy the sheer entertaining attainment of it. So from an entertainment, sell us on the non-wing stuff. What makes non-wing sprint car racing great to you guys?
Well, being a long-time sprint car racer, I've been at it for a bunch of years now. What makes non-wings so enjoyable for me is I show up at a track, and it doesn't matter who's there, anywhere from our local racers with the MTS, all the way to I've raced with dozens of guys that are USAC racers, and the lack of downforce with the non-wing sprints has allowed us to be competitive with uh, really less equipment. You have a good setup in the car. You have a motor that works decent. You don't need to have 900 horsepower to be fast. So the chance of showing up and being competitive with less equipment, less cost, has been huge for me.
Yeah, definitely in the non-wing stuff. Unless the track's heavy, for the most part, you don't need that much
No,
motor. And even when it is heavy, you still got to like when it's heavy. Like in a wing car, you're wide open, but in a non-wing car, for the most part, you still got to get off the gas a little bit to set the car and stuff like that. So it is a little bit less
I
even when it's
know
heavy, right?
you'll be surprised to hear this, but right now we believe that Southern Ontario Motor Speedway is probably the fastest track in Ontario. The way Henry's been preparing it has been very heavy. And last year, I got outran by a crate car.
Who?
So,
Marshall?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Andrew has really taken quite nicely to the non-wing sprints. And there he is running a crate motor with less than 400 horsepower, chasing down 410s.
Yeah.
Wow.
When I gave you guys a shout out earlier in one of the earlier pods, he was the guy I used as an example of, like, he was a guy that was struggling to make the show at Ush Week and kind of stuff. And then he went and raced with you guys and was able to make the show and get a lot of experience running laps and stuff. And sometimes, like, because Ush Weekend with the crates and the 360s this year, it's going to be 30 plus in each division, going to be tough to make the show. So if a guy is struggling to make the show, your series is a wicked series to hit to get laps and Andrew's a perfect example of that.
That's really how it started with Andrew, was getting in touch with them and just saying, hey, if you want some experience and some laps, here's a chance. Just come out, run laps, get comfortable, and that's exactly what he did.
Yep, that's what you need in sprint cars too, because like I've lost my front wing before, and like then it starts to kind of drive a little bit more like a non-wing car where you got to back them in a little bit. So like I can know the little bit of drive, and I did run a non-wing car once at Brighton, and their little whatever it is, they always used to do a dash for cash at the Labor Day thing, but it was super slick. But to me, it felt like a lot like a dirt modified, just backing her in. And but when it's slick, you still got to keep it straight and all that stuff. But yeah,
we've had several people contact us about what the difference is between a non-wing sprint car and a wing sprint car setup wise. Very, very little. To be honest with you, we blocked the front end about a quarter of an inch higher. Other than that, there's very little difference in setup. The biggest change is driver attitude.
You got to hang the right rear out a lot more. That's one of the main ones, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Like you guys started like 21 or something, right?
Yeah. But by the time the night's over, it slicks off, we're back into 15, 16 inches.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, same thing basically.
Just you have to keep up the attitude that it's like driving a slick track almost all the time.
Yeah.
That is wild to me. Taking a look over your calendar here, it all gets going as this May 27th at Southern Ontario Motor Speedway. And when there's more dates in June 10th, July 8th, August 5th, and August 19th. They're the 5 calendar events, with May 27th being, quote, a special event. So are there any details in particular about that May show that you can share with us right now, or is there still a few more covers to be lifted off the surprises?
No. So that event is a co-sanction event with the SOS. They're running there that night as well. So Pete and I have been talking, and we're going to put up a $500 bonus to the highest finishing driver to run both series.
Okay.
So there's been a few guys that have said we want to run both series. What do we got to do? I don't care if you run 2 different cars. You just have to pay 2 different entry fees at the gate when you come in. And so highest finishing driver to run both series, $500 bonus.
Okay, so here's a question: if a guy was thinking of doing it with one car, could he skip the heats and tag the rear of the feature?
No, I want you to run the heats.
Ooh, I'm out then, unfortunately.
We have talked with Henry about that, the fact that we wanted to do it. He's willing to space out the show as much as absolutely possible.
Ooh.
Just for those guys.
Have to think about it, but
low budget guy.
Gonna have to,
low budget guy.
Yeah. Gotta let me miss the heats.
Low budget guy, maybe not, but I could think maybe there's some bigger teams with some bigger budgets that I think would be up for it. I like the idea. I love any type of car swapping, any kind of multi-class events. Like, I would love to see somebody try to win. Like, my home track is Maryville Speedway on a Saturday night. I would love to see somebody try to win 2 different features on the same night in 2 different cars. Brent's done it. I'm pretty sure he's done it. I think he did it
more than
once or twice, maybe last year, in one season. But that I'm down for this. I think this is a great opportunity, and I'm glad the SOS are kind of partnering up with you guys here. Do you think maybe going forward that's a partnership that maybe can continue, where you guys appear at some of the other tracks the SOS takes their tour to in 2024, maybe even?
I would absolutely love to try and do some more pairing and get some more tracks. Like I said earlier, like it's really going to take more guys. If I can get more guys that would be willing to do both, and we could present that to the tracks, I think that we would definitely be interested in, potentially Merrittville, Humberstone, wherever.
Perfect.
I'd be
I
in.
know that things are definitely looking up for this year. Not only do we race here in Ontario, but we also have where we have about a 15 race schedule the other side of the border, Ohio and Michigan. We know we have got interest shown from half a dozen guys from the Michigan area to come this way this year because they've seen the videos, they love the track. So things are looking up that way. But yeah, like I said, it's going to be a time. We need time to grow the
If
series.
those guys come, that will definitely help you guys out because that's like it's
That would be
it'd be
huge.
huge. Now the borders are open. Going to be open both ways May 11th.
Yeah, and last summer we were going across, and it's actually been easier to cross now than it was pre-COVID.
Yeah, I feel that way as well.
You just went over to
I
Fulton
know.
too, so you brought the race car over and you had an easy process. So,
Super easy.
that's awesome. If you want to keep up, if anybody listening wants to keep up with the Ontario Traditional Sprints, you can find their Facebook page, Ontario Traditional Sprints Inc. That is where you can keep up with all things Ontario Traditional Sprints. I assume there's going to be lots of results and news and all that sort of stuff posted up there throughout the year. Guys, I want to get you out of here on this question though. Let's say you have an unlimited budget and an unlimited plot of land to design a dirt facility and make it ideal for wingless racing. What does that look like? You can combine any number of racetracks that have been built throughout North America or wherever else in the world. What does your ideal facility look like for the wingless sprints?
I already have mine figured out. So, Ian,
I don't know if I have mine quite as figured out as you do. I like the high banks. Um, I would be probably I would be a little bit bigger than a quarter mile. Maybe a 3/8 mile would be about tops for size. I would like a good play surface. We're so used to running on sand, being in Michigan so often.
Yeah.
So a decent play surface. Like I haven't never, to be honest, I've never run Oshwegan. Um, so comparatively, like I do love the surface at Southern Ontario. I'd be a little bit shorter than Southern Ontario. I like the banking there. So maybe a little shorter and probably remove most of the outside walls just because.
Yeah, then you can't hit them.
So fair enough. That's a good point.
now myself, the question you asked was a track specific to non-wing. There really is no such thing. The track is the track, and it's just up to the driver to get around the track. I've been on 20, 25, 26 different tracks now, and I've learned something from every single one of them, so they're all good. But if I was going to have a favorite and money was no object, I'd pick up Waynesfield, Ohio, and drop it off maybe 5-10 minutes north of London, Ontario, towards maybe towards either Guelph or Godwin, and I would call that the perfect racetrack.
I love it.
Nice.
Winged and non-winged
I like that
sprints
answer.
every Sunday or Saturday night. Saturday.
Yeah, have something every other week because that gives a chance for the fans to see something different every other week. It's the old saying, what's better, steak or lobster?
Yeah.
They're
Both
both
pretty
great.
good.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right, gentlemen. Well, thanks so much for taking the time tonight to join us and talk a little wingless sprints with us. I'm someone who's new to the wingless community north of the border, so I'm definitely going to be paying attention to that. And it is definitely handy to have a good Facebook page and to know that they're going to be there at Southern Ontario Motor Speedway. Thanks again, John Watson and Ian Hunter, joining the show, the Southern Ontario Dirt Show podcast. Appreciate it, guys.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks.
The folks from Van Sickle Pet Value and PV on the Lane aren't just fans of your favorite four-legged friends, they are race fans too. That's why Jeff and Rhonda Riley, as well as their staff, have teamed up with Merrittville Speedway to make your race day experience more convenient. Race fans can now pick up tickets for race nights while grabbing the highest quality food, treats, toys, and accessories for their pets from the St. Catharines and Niagara Falls locations. Each grandstand ticket will also have a voucher that can be used in-store for a free pet bath at their dog wash stations. Drivers and crew members can also skip the line by purchasing pit passes in-store, giving them more time to get their rides ready for Saturday nights. Check out Van Sickle Pet Value across from Best Buy and Walmart on 4th Avenue in St. Catharines, and PV on the Lane at the corner of Kayla Road and Lundy's Lane, Highway 20. Great conversation there with John Watson and Ian Hunter of the Ontario Traditional Sprints. Good hearing from those guys, and lots of good attention for that series. Trying to spread the love here on the Southern Ontario Dirt Show podcast. We like all kinds of racing. If it's got four wheels and it goes in a circle, chances are we're going to talk about it on this show. If it's on dirt too. Good point. You've been a busy man at work this week. Now that we work together, I get to kind of like have a little inside view of TC's world. And when you're not, welding stuff, you're brokering deals, man. You're wheeling and dealing, and you got pretty busy with the Gary Cunningham Memorials. Just talk to us a little bit about the successful week you've had.
Yeah, basically just decided to sell some laps for the Gary Cunningham Memorial, which has happened June 24th. And I made the post during lunch at work on, what was it? That would have been yesterday, Wednesday?
Wednesday?
Yeah. And we filled all the laps in one day. So I was making a little bit of a list at work while I was trying to write it because they're just flying in so quick. So, yeah, definitely. Sorry, Bob, on that one. But, Gary Cunningham Memorial is sold. Your buddy's race, all the laps starting to double up, and just can't thank everybody enough. I honestly, like I said, couldn't believe how fast it blew up. So I'm not going to do like a formal thank you yet to every single one because the list is still growing, but just wanted to get that in there that I can't believe I sold all the laps in one day. Almost doubled.
Super exciting. A lot of extra money going in the pot for the folks. And what's the plan now? Are you thinking of doubling up laps on the sprint car side? You want to spread the wealth to the modifieds? Is there anything else you can tell us on that yet?
No, I'm definitely just trying to double up the laps on the sprint car side, and all that money is be going to the bottom half of the purse, probably from 10th down to try to liven up those spots a little bit. And pretty sure there might be other money going up top yet. Can't quite announce that yet, but yeah. And that's the plan.
If anybody's hearing this and they want to contribute, maybe they haven't seen your post or gotten a hold of you, what's the best way to get in touch with you to maybe sponsor a lap?
Most people have been getting at me on Facebook. That's the best place to find me. Add me up. I add everybody, unless you look like a bot. So don't look like a bot. Add me up on Facebook, and
awesome.
We'll chat.
There it is. Go in. Send some money Travis's way so we can bump up that purse for the Gary Cunningham Memorial and make it that much more special when we get back to with the Southern Ontario Sprints back to
that's their next event.
Yeah, it's funny. You're basically, we're supposed to do the SOS opener at Maryville and then take some time off, and then now we're just waiting around for the Gary Cunningham.
Yeah, no, we got to race Oswego a few times, then where else we go before that? Brighton a few times, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and the one to be named later.
Yep, TBD.
TBD one's first.
But Gary Cunningham Memorial is going to be happening on June 24th at Maryville Speedway. So make sure of all the nights to be out at Maryville, that is the night that we hope to see you, especially on this podcast. So
thanks, everybody.
we don't do too many after the interview little chats, but thanks everybody for listening as always.
Because we forgot.
We did forget.
I forgot. And I can't believe it.
Well, hey, you know what? It happens. And It's important that we get this in. And big shout out and thank you as well from my end for everybody who's supporting Travis and his dad's legacy. This is really cool stuff. Cheers, guys. Make sure you're following the podcast wherever you listen. If you listen on Spotify, Apple Music, give us a rating, give us a review. That stuff really helps, they tell me. I'm not exactly sure how, but I'm going to learn, and we're going to figure this out together. And I think next week we're probably celebrating the official 1-year anniversary of this podcast. I feel like maybe this show
is probably that one. Technically,
so
I think. Or no, maybe 2 weeks ago, because we went Bicknell,
Yeah.
Susie, Matt, and next week we're going to have Matt, and it is the 1 year from him because it's it's going to be after Accord, and it's his is easy to remember because he just won the battle at the Bullring at Accord when we had him, and that's next Tuesday.
Exactly. Yeah. So, it's crazy. It's crazy where this podcast has gone. Yeah, it's been over a year now officially, and this has been such a special journey, and we're just getting started still. So, looking forward to the 2023 racing calendar carrying on, finally getting started. Hopefully this Saturday, as long as Mother Nature doesn't have any other plans, and we look forward to bringing you more just Southern Ontario Dirt Show content. Connect with us on social media at SODS_pod on Instagram and Twitter and TikTok, and at Southern Ontario Dirt Show on Facebook. Follow the show, like the show, rate and review the show. Send us an email, get in touch with us. Anything you want to know, anything you want to hear, we're always down to answer it. And appreciate you guys listening, and appreciate hearing from you guys, because especially being around BRP more often now, the amount of guys who've come up to the show or come up to talk about the show and say they listened to this interview or that interview, it actually all really means a lot to us. So just know if you're listening now and you've been a long time listener, or maybe you're even just a first time listener now and you want to go through the back catalog, just know it's super appreciated that you're on board with this show. So special times. Happy 1 year anniversary, belated potentially. I don't know. It's belated. It's been cool. Yeah.
Go us.
But you know what? I think next week we can do a big celebration, because it's also going to be our 50th show. So maybe that's when we'll do some big celebrations, and maybe have we'll see if we can book some bigger guests. Who knows? We'll see what the show brings next week. Thanks again as always. And let's get out of here so Travis can go watch the Leafs. It's the Southern Ontario Dirt Show podcast with Jonathan Howe and Travis Cunningham. And the checkered is out on another episode of the Southern Ontario Dirt Show, presented by Ohsweken Speedway and Bicknell Racing Products. Like what you hear, rate, review, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Connect with us on Facebook at Southern Ontario Dirt Show, or find us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at SODS_pod. Have a question for the show? Email us, southernontariodirtshow@gmail.com. Thanks for supporting local racing in Southern Ontario, and we'll see you at the track. And the checkered is out on another episode